Well, hello. This is, I think, episode 24 of ScaleApp Podcasts. We're really making some progress here in trying to unravel the secrets of scaling up and the secrets of growth. And ScaleApp Podcasts, as those of you who have listened already, as you know, it's all about growth. This is not for startups to tell their aspirations. This is for, let's say, grown-ups to talk about what they've actually achieved and how they're going to get even bigger. So I'm really pleased to have with me Julie Brandle. Just say hi, Julie.
Hi, good morning.
And Julie's in Ohio right now. And I got to know Julie when she was a participant in ScaleApp Northeast Ohio, which we are now getting ready to run the 10th cohort. You were probably in the 5th or 6th cohort.
I think it was 3, actually.
Wow, way back when
I know.
It's a long time. And Julie has created a company called Metis Construction, which we're going to hear all about. And it's a significant company. It's certainly in the area of Northeast Ohio, but also in other states in that region. So we're going to hear all about that. It's a construction services company. We've had all kinds of companies, as you all know, not your typical whiz-bang tech companies. We have some of those. We had a car wash, Brian Cruz's car wash.
Oh, yes.
Brian,
He has a great operation over there.
yeah, and he told us he's doing about almost $20 million in revenues.
Wow.
So, you may not like the car wash business, but you've got to like $20 million in revenues.
And you have to like Brian Cruz. He's a
And
great
you
guy.
have to like Brian Cruz.
You're a fellow Rotarian.
And a fellow ScaleApp alum.
Right.
So here we have Julie Brandle. And Julie, I'm going to start off with a question that I start every podcast with. Tell us about Julie Brandle, but don't say anything about Metis.
Oh, goodness. Julie Brandle is Metis, I think, most days. So let me think about this for a minute. Well, I'm a wife, and my husband and I have been married for 32 years this past August. We have a daughter, Kimberly, who's an intervention specialist for 3rd and 4th graders in Northwest Ohio. And we have a grandson, Stetson Nash, who is 21 months and just the light of our lives, whoever knew, just a doll. And I enjoy community work, giving back. I'm a Rotarian. I've been a Rotarian for 11 years, and I just served a couple-year stint as the district governor for Northeast Ohio for 52 clubs, and that was just a real pleasure and joy to get out and meet Rotarians all over the state and just see how they're serving their communities. I'm a volunteer. I'm a Girl Scout. I've been a Girl Scout since I was 7 years old, and I still volunteer today for Girl Scouts, and love everything about it. Gosh, I love being outside. I think that should cover it. That's all my main hobbies.
I know you do. You do have a strong social media presence in terms of your, not just the company, but also in all your community involvement. And that's certainly felt. And also you've been very active in helping us promote ScaleApp.
Sure. We loved ScaleApp. I thought, it's great fun. Brittany over there was a great help to us and continues to be a wonderful contact and friend to me. And
great.
Awesome program for us.
Good. Well, we're going to get, before the end of our 35 minutes together, we're going to get into ScaleApp and how it's impacted you and how you took it. But first, let's just understand Metis now. Now we can actually talk about Metis. The name, Metis, and the business.
Oh, okay. Well, gosh, the name is so funny because everyone always says, well, how did you come up with the name of your business? And, you have to come up with a name that will get some attention and tell your story a little bit. And, we were talking about it, and it was my husband actually who said, let's go to Greek mythology. And so, I started going online and searching and looking for names that might be appropriate. Obviously it's not going to be, Aphrodite or Hercules or something like that to describe my company. But then I landed on Metis, which is the Greek goddess of wisdom, planning, good counsel, and a little bit of tomfoolery. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the name for us. Because really, we thought if you're not having fun doing what you're doing, and there are those days maybe that you don't have so much fun as others, and you know that from owning businesses, but you will find that it really, really described us to a T. And so we wanted to always be a resource to our clients, and whether they build with us or not. And so I think that all kind of told the story in just one name.
One word.
That's how we decided on
And it's a goddess, right?
yes,
I think I know you're active also in women's business support, promotion.
yes.
You're a role model for a lot of women.
Oh, that's what they told me. Yes,
You
actually,
are, you are.
I was just at the Kent State University last couple nights for a professional development program that a professor had for teaching young people how to prepare for the workforce. And it was really a great, great opportunity to talk to young people about professionalism, communication, critical thinking, all of the 8 skill competencies of the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And wow, did I have a great time. So sometimes, yes, they do say I like to be a role model, but I'm having just as much time doing it as I think I'm sure the students have.
Well, Julie, whether you intend to be it or not, you are.
Okay.
So, that's not a choice you have anyway.
I know. I
Oh,
want to be, that's for sure.
And so now let's talk about the business. What is it? Some idea of the scale. It's construction services,
Correct.
which, in the context of entrepreneurship, I have to say, it's not the thing that venture capitalists get all excited about necessarily.
Just so they don't.
So what is the business? And we're going to talk about what's exciting about it and what's innovative about it. But first, describe.
Well, I do
what
find
is it?
excitement in it every single day because every day is different. And Metis Construction Services is a woman-owned business. We're 16 and a couple months years old, 16 years and a couple months old. We are full service, so we are ground up facilities maintenance and commercial renovations. So we're only doing commercial work, except for those few nonprofits that we assist from time to time, Habitat for Humanity, Rebuilding Together, and some odds and ends here and there. So we have about 48 employees right now, and we're headquartered in Kent, Ohio. We work all over Ohio, mostly Northeast Ohio, but we get all over the state. So we also do work for developers in other states for projects that we've already built in Ohio. We've had great success, and they've taken us on the road with them to other states. Some examples of that would be Firestone Auto Care, Dollar General, McAlister's Deli, Bank of America, bank, a lot of retail banking. We do a lot of renovations and ground up construction for banks, regional banks in our area.
So they were a company that's a multi-state or national company, have a good experience with you in Northeast Ohio and say, you know what, we're going to use your services elsewhere. How do you make money?
How do I make money? Well, I think the idea is to deliver an excellent experience and ultimately a product to a client and build a relationship through that first initial experience with them, and then keep working with them.
Is it time and materials? Is it based on a proposal?
It's typically based on a proposal. Ideally, it's a negotiated proposal that from relationships you come to trust and build a relationship with clients to find the best price for them with the scope of work that they have given you and an architectural set of plans that they have provided. But sometimes you have to work from scratch, and that's where our in-house design comes in. We have licensed and unlicensed architects and architectural designers on staff who help us design our projects for a design build delivery method. But we also work with outside architects as well, outside of our company. And then we also do the traditional bid build model of delivery as well.
So of all your customers, if you look out at the landscape of customers that you have, how many of them would you call repeat customers and how many would you call one-off customers?
Oh gosh. I'm going to think that probably 30% of our work is repeat customers from year to year. Some years it might be more because they might have more projects going that year than others. But if I were to look at the last year of our work, maybe the last year to date, I would say about 30%.
I think that most people would think, maybe naively think, that the construction services business is kind of a commodity, but disabuse us of that notion. How do you develop a comparative edge or differentiate yourselves from your competitors?
Sure.
Your secret sauce, what is it?
Well, I think you have to start with your team. And I think we talked a lot about that in ScaleApp. Like that's the premise of the whole program, I think, is you bring your whole team to the table and you make a plan for your company. And that's exactly what we did through ScaleApp. But what we have to do is provide what you said. You have to set yourself apart. You have to set yourself above your competition. And we try to do that with our team. And so you have to deliver on time. You have to deliver for the cost that you said you were going to do it for, outside of any emergencies, crazy economic conditions.
Not that we have any of those in the United
No,
States.
not at all. We have none of that. And what's kind of funny is we started this business in a recession. We started in 2009. We've been through a pandemic.
Yep.
And then now, of course, we're in whatever we're in now. I don't even have a name for it yet.
A lot of uncertainty to,
Correct.
try to be non-judgmental about it. I don't think anyone would disagree. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah, and I think we try to tell our representatives, our senators, or Congress people, the uncertainty is the most difficult part. If we just know what's happening, we can deal with it and we can make a plan. But when you're a business, especially a small business, planning is everything. And it sounds so very simple, doesn't it? But if you can't know or plan ahead, you really at a disadvantage, not only for your team and for your company, but for your clients, which is the whole reason you're here. You're here to serve them and bring their projects to fruition with a successful delivery. So yes, if we could get through whatever this is, I'm not even naming it yet, we will be much better off.
Yeah, and the pandemic, of course, that's a few years behind us. And I don't know what your reflections are about how you managed to get through that, because I'm sure that had a big impact on your business.
Sure. It was a very interesting time. From the very first day, we heard that we were essential workers. Construction could go on as planned. The only real project we had on hold after that announcement was in Pennsylvania. We had to close down a project and shut it down for, I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. And luckily, we were at a place in construction process that allowed us to secure the building, secure the site, and nothing happened to it. Like it wasn't open, the roof wasn't open, nothing was open that was going to take damage, and we were in a good spot. But that wasn't always the case for companies. So I'm not really sure what happened elsewhere, but we kept working throughout Ohio. New York was interesting because someone had to then move there because they weren't letting non-residents into the state. And so someone had to move there. The project superintendent had to move there and stay there and bring up, make residency basically so that he could come in and out. But you look back on those times and, all the things we've learned since then. Of course, we didn't know then. And the uncertainty of was happening then too. We had unrealistic pricing on materials and, people taking advantage of the situation, as well as things obviously being affected by shipping and all of those things. You think back of all the things that were happening at that time, because it wasn't just COVID, it was barges getting stuck in canals, and it was shipping problems, and it was delivery problems, and it was trucking problems, and it was manufacturing problems. It was everything happening all at one time. And here we are on the other side of it, only a couple years out, but still feeling the effects of it, really, because sometimes it still takes a while to get caught up on those manufacturing processes, and deliveries have kind of all subsided with their issues, but Lead times, there's still lead times on things being shipped from other countries. Now, those are obviously affected sometimes now with the tariffs and those types of things. But by and large, I think we're through it.
And you made it through relatively unscathed, it sounds like.
Well, I never want to say that because I think all of us had some effects. We lost a lot of our culture during that time because
What,
we
what do you,
we had a great culture. We had a great team working in our environment. We have an awesome office. Actually, right before COVID, we built out a whole addition onto our office space. And then all of a sudden, people were like, I don't feel comfortable working here. I want to work from home. And if they could, we wanted them to feel comfortable. We wanted people to feel safe, healthy. And so, we tried to make allowances for team members to work from home. We got them equipment, computers, printers, whatever they needed. And so it kind of like broke up the team a little bit just by proximity. And so that affected our culture.
what did you do? What did you do to put that back together?
I think we're still doing it. We had some people leave by retirement. We had some people leave. They wanted to work closer to home. They wanted to work in more environments that were more remote. Because when we did bring everybody back, now we do it where people can work from home 1 day a week. And I think that's more about flexibility than COVID and working remotely. It's more about trying to meet people where they are and help people like, hey, if you have to run here, you have to run there, or do whatever you need to do. Working remotely, ideally, you're sitting at your desk, but things happen, and you need to be a little bit more flexible with your team. And so we're working through about the 6th month of that. I think it's going pretty well. There's always going to be those things like, is this getting done on time, or is this happening? Accurately, but I think by and large, we're working through that pretty well.
I've got to ask you, Julie, how you got into this business, which from a distance, someone who's pretty naive, looks like it's a man's world. I mean, anything I do with construction, I think the common perception is this is a man's world, that you're a woman in a man's business. So disabuse me of that notion, or
Oh no, I hear that every day. And for the first 15 years of it, maybe shorter, I would say you are exactly right. I, for many years, would go out to a job site, or I would go out to a walkthrough for a bid, a bid meeting, and someone was always looking for who was coming with me. Who did you bring with you? Or like, where's maybe the guy who's supposed to be at my appointment with me? And, I kind of had to get a little, I guess, spunky about it and say, it's just me. I'm okay. I can handle it. I'm the owner and president of this company and I can handle a walkthrough. I know how to use a tape measure. I know how to use, a laser measuring device. So I'm good, but it's sometimes not funny when people would be skeptical of our company just because we're a woman-owned business. But I think basically you have to know what you're talking about. You have to prove yourself, maybe a little bit more in depth or harder than a man in the same business because they just expect that it's a man's business. But I would love it to be just considered construction business and not a man's business. But I think that's always the case. I think people say that to me often. What's it like working in a man's business? And it's funny because for the most part, I don't have any trouble. Like, no one's disrespectful. No one is questioning my capabilities in this business. Metis has an excellent reputation in this business, and we're serving our clients well. But every once in a while, it still happens, even after owning and working in this business for so long, because people will surprise you that they're just maybe a little old-fashioned or uninformed, and that's probably putting it nicely, but I try to be a nice person.
I can testify to your success at that endeavor. Let's talk a little bit about the future. I don't know how big, we know how many people. I don't know if you want to give us some idea of the revenue range.
Sure.
But
We're around 30 million in the most recent years. We hit our goal of around the 50 million mark a couple years ago, actually during COVID. And it's a stressful mark. It's something we had wanted to attain, and with it comes great challenges, stress, responsibilities, and so we kind of backed that up a little bit.
Why? Why? Is it because of the stress?
Well, not personal. I mean, personal stress, of course, was there, but I think it's a stress on our team, on our systems, on your performance. When you promise and you take on a contract for a client, you want to perform well, you want to deliver what you promise. And if you can't, or it's delayed, or there are challenges to that, I think that you have to take a step back and think growing is great, but don't grow for the sake of growth. You have to grow with a strategy. And by chance, we grew quickly from the very beginning. I think back to Scalerator days, just even from Scalerator to, the next 5 years, we went from 18 to 30 million, and it was fast, but even to get to the 18 million happened quickly. And so, it's been a quick trip to get to 16 years, but there have been challenges along the way, with all of those growth, I guess, steps or stepping stones. So,
What was missing? Was it culture, skill, processes?
I think in the beginning, when we started our business, we didn't have all of those systems in place. And so we started as a small facilities maintenance company doing retail bank work. People drove through the drive-through overhangs. That was weekly job security for us. Bank switchovers, turnovers for branding, carpet, paint, those types of smaller projects. And then we bid on and won the downtown block of Kent, known as Erie and DePeister, or Acorn Alley 2, mixed use, 35,000 square feet, restaurant, retail, office. And we got the job. And we're like, oh, goodness, we have to hire like 10 people in a week. And we have to do, we're building this building. And I think we didn't have yet all of the systems in place for moving from facilities maintenance to full ground up construction. And so those had to be put together pretty quickly. And then, so that happened over a little bit of time. And then I think each time you grow another big step, you have to reevaluate, like, what worked at this step might not work at the next step. So you might have to adjust some systems.
Can you give an example? Can you give an example of people or systems that you had to change?
Accounting systems, like outside vendors or services. One kind of insurance that worked for us when we were smaller didn't serve our purposes any longer. And so we had to go on to a different broker and different insurance, programs and services, and just have someone looking at our business differently from more of a larger commercial construction lens, instead of the smaller brokerage we started with when we were doing facilities maintenance services. And so you just have to bring upon newer partners that have more experience in specifically construction, commercial construction, larger projects, bringing in partners like attorneys and accounting that are just specifically for, construction companies, because it is a different kind of accounting. And they use language and methods that, not your average accounting firm would be familiar with. And so those are all bringing in those partners and elevating those systems for your company really helped us, I guess, elevate our service to our clients. So
I think this is a very, very common transition or
yes,
series of transitions for businesses that go from, let's say, a few million
sure,
to, say, 10 million or
Yeah.
beyond. And so I think it might be interesting to spend another minute on
Sure.
like
Okay.
what what how did you actually do that? And why was it difficult? Was it hard for you to pay the salaries because that sort of broke your salary policies? Was it
No, not at all.
just
I'm just
knowledge?
thinking more of the vendor, like the outside professionals, and those people that we're working with. You build relationships and you bring on vendors and professionals like the accountants or the attorneys or the insurance agents, and at a smaller type of company or a different type of company that we were when we first began. And then you face challenges or these growth spurts, for lack of a better word, that you're dealing with. And you need different partners and you need people with more expertise and you need people to help you grow in a different way or help you grow. And so I look back on it and I think, how lucky we were to meet the partners that we've met. Like, we brought in, an HR connected HR out of Cleveland to help us with HR services, and we used to use a small, IT company to help fix our computers and help us, you know, with our, equipment, and then now we have a different IT company that helps us in a different way, and so I think you might just have little stepping stones of how and who, you need to help, grow your business.
You had to do it over again. Would you hire those more, let's say, more specifically skilled professionals earlier, or do you think you did it at the right time?
Both. I think there are some that worked and helped us where we needed it, and we didn't. I think we just outgrew them and had to go to someone anyway. But then you think about some of those services, and you're like, "Darn, I wish we had them from the very beginning. We maybe would have done things a little bit differently." So I think it's both, and I don't think you can go back. I mean, hindsight, right? You could say, "Oh, we should have, woulda, coulda, done this and that," but um, I think you're exactly where you're supposed to be, right where you are, so.
Well, I think it's useful for companies that might be hearing this who probably haven't done a systematic assessment of the professional service helpers that they have. And maybe if I were them, I'd be saying, you know what, let me take a look at our accountants, lawyers, and so on and see, are they appropriate? Will they help us get to the next level? Or are we going to have to make a tough decision maybe at some point sooner rather than later? So I think it's,
Aw,
it's useful to hear that reflection. Let's talk a little bit about the future here.
sure.
I'll put it in an extreme way, just to get the conversation rolling. $100 million, achievable, desirable,
No,
neither.
it's not desirable. $100 million does not sound desirable to me. Um, but I wouldn't say never. I wouldn't say I don't want to. It just sounds like a challenge that right now, in the climate that we're in, where we have so many other challenges, I don't know that taking us to that, probably that's, I'd say a next level, but that's probably 2 or 3 levels, from where we are right now. That would take a whole different approach to this business, with an addition to our team of many, probably, I would say we would probably need to double our project management team. We would need to double our supervisory team in the field. And I think most of the work to get us to that, level would not be self-performing work that we would do with our team that's in-house right now that we have that's awesome, like the carpenters and the drywallers and the painters that we already have. They would not be able to physically handle that growth if we were doing small projects. Those projects to take us to that level would have to be ground up construction, large projects, probably 10 million or above and multiple of them, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah, that would be a whole different company, I think. And I see many, many of them all over the Northeast Ohio area doing awesome, amazing work and doing different work than we do. Um, and and we're all doing fine. There's enough to go around.
Understood. Well, we'll have this conversation maybe another 3 years.
Okay.
May look every hill you climb,
Yes.
things look a little different from
Do.
you know, things that you see from there, you don't see from here.
Yes.
And so maybe now the question is 40, 50 million.
Yes.
And when you get to 50, maybe the question is 60, 70.
Right.
And then the question may be 100 or a different question, diversification or selling the business
Right.
or something else.
Yeah, you're right. So when I was looking at it, I was thinking too, but maybe it is 3 steps to get to that, but and 3 different iterations of our company to try to get to that point. But in this current climate, I think we're gonna be right here.
I think, you just a kind of an observation. My impression is that your clients trust you. You
Yes.
certainly come across as a very trustworthy, sincere person. And I think that that's a superpower in a way that it may just happen that they'll pull you into larger projects because they appreciate that relationship. And
Right.
you don't have to comment on that because either it'll happen or it won't happen. And
You're right. And I hope that happens, but we are always striving to serve the client where they are right now. And we are always serving to serve their project that we're on right now and build the trust and the relationship with them to carry us through to when they need us next, whether it's a small project or a large project, whatever. It's important to them, no matter what size the project is, it's important to us. And so we, people always say, "Oh, I don't think you would want this project. It's way too small." If it's important to you and you need it, we're here to help you. We've gone to a local behavioral health organization and helped them switch out doors. We've also done $3 million renovations of a 3-story organization. We've done the building I mentioned here in Kent that got us in our start for commercial ground up construction. We've done, $15 million over 5 years of renovations at 3 different Girl Scout camps. It just, it could be really, really small or it could be big to them, but every job's important to us and we want to take that and give it the good stewardship that it deserves.
So there's 2 more things that I want to talk about because
Yeah.
I promise my listeners to keep this relatively
Perfect. Okay, good.
short. Um, but one of the things we have to talk about is Scalerator.
Oh, sure.
Coming back and how that impacted your business. Let me give a thumbnail sketch of what
Okay.
Scalerator is to everybody out there. It's a 7-month, call it training program. It's a training program for growth. It's for businesses that already have a few $1 million in revenues at least. And it's not just for the CEO owners, it's the CEO owner
Right.
at least part of their team. And
Mhm.
so it's a 7-day-and-a-half workshop that's now completely remote, and it works very well. I think, Julie, you probably participated when it was face-to-face.
Yes.
We still hack away at the 3 C's, the customers, capacity, and cash. So just listeners, keep in your mind that these are not just individuals, these are teams of people sitting around the table doing things. So now tell us about how this impacted your business.
Well, I think what was really great about Scalerator is that you brought your team to the table. So I had done another program of similar in nature where I went myself, and while it was very beneficial to me at our 5-year mark, the Scalerator came in at around our 10-year mark, and so it was a great next step for us. But I think what worked even better for us was that you took to the table at Scalerator your team. Whoever was affected by the topic of that session was invited to come to the classes for those 2 days. So if we were talking about HR, those people that worked in that segment came to the program. If it was accounting, if it was project management, whatever it was, those people affected attended and participated.
So what was the impact of this on your company?
Well, I think first it was everyone was in. You weren't taking it back and trying to sell it. They were already in the project or in the program for it, where they were learning about it firsthand. understanding about it firsthand. I didn't have to go explain to anybody, but I didn't have to sell it. They were already there. Um, it was a team approach. I think everyone was wanting to scale. They were wanting to grow. They were wanting to better our systems. And so you had everybody on board doing the work because there was homework. You had to be prepared. You were having to go back and look at the systems we talked about in class and really evaluate where you were and where you needed to go. And so I think those were the major components that stuck out to me. Also, I thought it was beneficial, not just for me, but anyone on our team who had a counterpart in the class in their same job or in their same responsibilities to talk about not just the tasks at hand, but the human side of it. Like, just because you're a manufacturer and I'm a construction company and you're a bakery doesn't mean you don't have the same issues because we're all working with human beings and all of the same things affect no matter what the business is. And so I thought that peer counsel or that peer interaction was so very important at the scalerator level because you could really have some good conversation.
Just out there, if there's anybody who for whom this sounds interesting, we're now recruiting for cohort number 10. So I'm sure that it'll be easy for you to find ScaleApp Northeast Ohio. So just check it out.
Yeah.
Julie, I want to end with the following question.
Sure.
You run into your younger self, 25 years younger, and your younger self says, Julie, I want to start a business, maybe in construction, maybe something else. What would you tell your younger self?
Oh goodness. I think that I would you didn't tell me this in advance, so I'm going to go on the fly here.
Yeah, go for it.
25 years ago, I was a new mom. So I seriously thought I would have started a new company because I was just learning how to be a mom. But being a new mom is a brave task. And I think business owners are brave. And I'll tell you what, when I was at a coffee talk yesterday for commercial real estate women for Crew of Greater Akron. And I met this woman who was a nurse for 20 years. And she decided to quit her job and become in commercial real estate, insurance and brokerage and things like that. And I thought, how brave she is. And I think as a business owner, you're really taking the risk of a lot of things. And you're taking the risk, you're being brave, and you're also responsible for a lot of things. You're responsible for a lot of people. And people would always ask us in the beginning, like, what are you worried about? Or what are you up at night about? And I'm still up at night thinking about 48 house payments and double that car payments and who's going to school and our kids having their school supplies. And because those are the people that I'm responsible for and my team is responsible for, and they're relying on me to do well here. And
So would you, again, just following this example, I didn't say whether your younger self had a child or didn't have a child, but you brought it up, and it's come up in other conversations with men. It's come up.
yeah.
Because that has had a big impact on them as well. I'm sure not as big an impact as on the mothers. So would you say have a baby sooner and have it out of diapers and in school or would you say build your company and then have a baby?
No, everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen for a reason. And so, our daughter was growing up while we were doing Metis in the early years, and we would bring her back to the office after school or after practice or whatever, and she would do her homework at the conference table, and we would be eating takeout, and we would still be working at night. And so, granted, she is not too fond of the idea of coming to work at our construction company. She has her own life goals. But I hope it's not because we fed her too much takeout when she was younger. No, I think people have to do what's best for them when it's best for them. And sometimes they don't know when it's best for them. It just happens. And I think when it happened for us, we were kind of at a crossroads. It was the recession. I lost my job. I worked in new home sales, which were not happening. I worked for a builder. I also had my real estate license. People were not buying houses. That also was not happening. I worked as a property manager, doing rentals, and it was the worst job. I could honestly say that it was difficult. Evictions and people not taking care of their apartments, and it was just a challenging, stressful time. And I was thinking, I was 39 years old. We're marketable people. We're in this crazy economic time. We're going to start this business. If it doesn't work out, we're marketable people. We'll get new jobs when this is all over, and we'll move on with our lives. So here we are 16 years later. We've had some bumps, we've had some highs, we've had some lows. We're still here. We're still serving our clients, and we're doing it every single day, the best possible way that we can. And so, no, if I look back and I say, should we not have done it? Should we done it? We did it. I wouldn't change that. I just think you are where you're supposed to be, where you are right now. And
I hear you. I hear you. By the way, the men who have talked about this, 3 or 4, all of them have said they wish they had their family sooner. So for what it's worth,
yeah,
because the challenges of having a baby in diapers,
yeah.
pre-daycare and
Oh, I'm sure.
kindergarten is daunting. They did it. They're happy they did it. They just
Yeah.
did it sooner. That's all. I just wanted to bring that up. Well, Julie
Oh,
Brandle,
that's good. That's good to know.
CEO and founder of Metis Construction in Ohio. Thank you very much. Our time has come to an end, and I really appreciate you sharing all your insights. I'm sure this will be interesting to a lot of our listeners. And by the way, I think you're helping also demystify the process of building and running a business that is successful. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
And so everybody out there, this is ScaleApp Podcast. I'm Dan Eisenberg. This is this is a hobby for me, a serious hobby. If you like it, share it. I think we've got some amazing content. Today's interview or discussion, I think, was just another example of that. I think you won't be able to find anywhere such a variety and range of companies and entrepreneurs, and in different countries, from China and Greece and Israel and other places, all the way, of course, to the United States. So again, Julie, thank you very much. And we're going to sign off now.
Great. Thank you.